responsibility as Christians to, and we talked a little bit about that earlier, our responsibility is to stand up and say something and do what within our Constitution what allows us to do. But anything you want to elaborate on that and what we should do?
Well, let me say this, and this is pushing the envelope a little with churches, because the churches have not addressed these issues at all.
Wow.
And I think it's a big mistake. I think that you might hear sermons on some of the traditional, social issues, abortion and traditional marriage being the two biggies. But when's the last time that you heard a sermon on how many people have died at the hands of oppressive governments? Across the world. I mean, it's happening all over the world.
Right.
Christians in particular, as you've mentioned before. I mean, a lot of nations, if you convert from Islam to Christianity, I mean, that's punishable by death.
Oh, wow.
We don't hear much about that. And then we never hear about, how much we should give to the church, right? We hear 10%, whatever. But we don't hear how much your government is taking from you without your permission. Wow. The average person in 2012 had to work from January 1st to April 17th just to pay off their tax bill, just to earn enough money to pay their entire tax bill.
From when to where?
January 1st to April 17th. You're working for the government. You're paying the government off.
I never thought of that.
The federal, local, and state taxes. We don't hear anything about that in church. If God requires 10%, I mean, why does the government need so much more? And we could do so much better with that. We could be giving that to God. We could be giving that. We could be putting it back in our communities. We could be putting it back in the marketplace and building our own businesses, helping people with their businesses. And what does the government do? It's not like they're using it responsibly. I think some of us wouldn't be so upset if the government were responsible.
Yeah, it's a lot of waste.
They don't need that much money. They're wasting it. They're really just propping themselves up. They're really enriching themselves. I mean, all these government officials that go into Congress, I mean, they go in, they're not that rich. They come out, they're super wealthy. What's happened?
Oh, yeah.
So, but we don't hear about these issues in church, even though the Bible has over 2,500 references to the word king or kings, kingdoms, its derivations. And we're not going to talk about this stuff. I mean, the income tax specifically is just wrong. My preference is to see a fair tax, just a single national sales tax, where everything is collected at once. There's no IRS. Because the IRS is at this point it's just a bullying organization.
Yeah, that's right.
The tax code is 72,000. Tax code is 72,000 pages of payoffs to allies and punishments to enemies.
Wow.
And it's so immoral. We never hear anything about this in church. Our pastors don't talk about political issues, which I don't even consider political. These are right and wrong.
That does affect us. And I think that's why, one reason I'm so firm in the political thing too, because I needed an outlet to say something about the things that were going on. And the churches were silent, and they still are in a lot of areas, very silent on issues that affect us economically, socially, spiritually. They don't address these issues. So what do? You have to go to organizations like the Tea Party here who says, look, we as Christians will join this organization right here and we'll stand up for these issues that affect us without affect our principles,
Yeah, think about this. It's something that occurred to me recently. The Bible says that Christians will be persecuted, right? Because when you're standing up for the truth, you're standing up for something that's unpopular and people are going to persecute you.
Yeah.
Who do you think is more persecuted today? Would you say churches in America or the Tea Party?
Well, that's interesting.
What does that tell you?
Yeah.
Now,
they're on the pivotal front, evidently, hitting at the things that are, you need something out there, like an arrow. Seeing what the Tea Party is doing, it's almost like an arrow sticking them in what hurts the most. Yeah, churches aren't doing anything.
The Tea Party is telling the truth. You may disagree with some of the opinions of the Tea Party, but they are standing up and they are telling the truth as they see it about the debt level, about the damage that's going to cause to the country and to future generations who can't repay this. And I mean, the Tea Party is just, you see it in the media every day. I mean, it's just open season on us. And back to the racism thing, we didn't really get into that, but that's a frequent charge of those who want to diminish us because they can't argue with our facts.
That's right, exactly.
Because, I mean, our case is rock solid. There's nothing that you can say. There's no way you can put a smiley face on the economics of this nation right now. You know, so they have to use these distractions. They have to call us racist. They have to call us mean or hate the poor or whatever other nonsense.
Yeah.
And I address all that in the book. I have an entire section devoted to refuting the biggest misconceptions about the Tea Party.
And I think from what I've seen demonstrated from the Tea Party is that they're trying to hold everybody accountable, Republicans and Democrats, and that's what we should do as American citizens.
Yeah.
Is no matter what party's in office, we've given you our consent to be there. We've given you our authority to be there, and you are accountable to God and to the people.
Yeah.
And I don't think people, when they get to Washington, sometimes I think they forget about us back here at home a lot.
Yeah, it's intoxicating.
And get inside the Beltway, and there's a new life there, and I don't have to answer to the people no more. But we as Americans, we have to stand up. You know, we have to be accountable to our next generation of people, our next generation of kids that's growing up, our children and grandchildren. I got 4 kids. And I don't know what I'm leaving them here to, what kind of world they'll have with this debt and the social issues that are happening. But I'm trying to do what I can while I'm here, you know, to fight some of this stuff.
Right, and I think we're at the point right now where God is giving us a clear choice, right? If you look at the book of Samuel, 1 Samuel chapter 8, you see that's the first time where Israel